Hello again, this is Arthur McKeown, now talking about some of the practical tools and techniques with some tips and tricks that can help you make effective use of the different elements of the Absolute Beginners Compendium. In the next few minutes, I would like to give you an indication of the content of the training day, which will provide guidance and practical opportunities to use some of the tools and techniques. Drawing on some experience I had as a teacher trainer preparing people for the Delta qualification, I hope to be able to use some of the terminology that you will encounter as you make increasing use of English language teaching material. I begin by drawing particular attention to the sequence of listen, speak, read, and write. Nobody says anything as a learner until they've heard it a number of times, nor do they read it till they have spoken it or write till they've read it. We are at the final stages of compiling the Absolute Beginners Compendium, which will provide in total 60 hours of classroom and follow-up activities to help people prepare for entry 1. Much of the rest of this short presentation describes some of the lesson activities that can be used in a structured sequence in each of the lessons over the 60 hours that the program lasts. I am going to mention briefly some of the ways in which the Belfast toolkit can help you introduce and practice dialogues, vocabulary, drill language, use pictures, reading, dictation, and other tools. Dialogues are used to provide language, useful language that learners can take away and use immediately outside the classroom. It complements the informal welcomes and introductions, the use of learners' names, and the break. Drills can be used to get a very considerable amount of oral language practice, both by individuals and by the class as a whole. And you will be introduced to techniques such as back chaining. The vocabulary we introduce is intended to be high frequency, high useful words on subjects that are familiar to learners, such as food, fashion, and furniture. All of this will be explained at the workshop. We introduce a small amount of grammar in a formal way to help people make use of the language that they are encountering, but we are not seeking to cover anything like the full entry 1 ESOL syllabus. From the early stages of the compendium, we encourage learners to activate vocabulary that they're acquiring and use some listening and speaking skills. There is a lot of recycling and revision. In the early stages, learners acquire an ability to read letters, numbers, and then words and sentences. We also make use of the sight words and introduce phonics. In the writing section of each lesson, there is an opportunity for learners to trace, then copy, and then compose more freely the letters, numbers, words, and sentences. It should be possible in the final stages of a lesson to lighten the mood a little with something in the way of a game or song, especially if it draws on learners' competitiveness. As I move towards my conclusion, I make brief mention of the importance of homework in the programme so that people can not only practice language to which they have been exposed, but also meet their expectations of learners in a formal environment. Like the welcomes at the beginning of the lesson, goodbye can be used as another opportunity to give learners a chance to speak about what they are going to do or where they are going after the class. David Riddell's book provides a very comprehensive coverage of some of the things that will be developed in more detail during the training day, and it will indicate where you can get further practice of the tools and techniques. Access to the compendium will be through the attendance at the workshop. You should register in advance and complete some of the pre-workshop activities, and then you will be able to make use of the compendium and its resources. Thank you as ever for your attention. I provide some contact details and 2 resources where you can get further information about the Belfast programme. I look forward to seeing you at the training day. Goodbye.